Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for checking out the show. I appreciate it. Excuse me. We do have a poll that is going on here. We're going to try to get to the bottom of some stuff here tonight, and check out what's going on here, and get your thoughts and opinions about the statue that's in New York City. So hello to everyone. Make sure you do say hello so I can acknowledge you, and I appreciate everyone who's checking out the show or will check it out in the future, and all that. So make sure you say hello so we can acknowledge you. Hello to you, Susan Fit 47. Hello to you. Thank you so much for checking out the show. Anyone else in the building, make sure you check it out and say hello and all that kind of stuff. Usually I try to do a couple of warm-up videos because I know us is slow to trickle in the building. But I only have one warm-up video that is kind of on topic for tonight. And so we'll get to it in a second here. Greetings to you, Garrett. Afternoon to you. Greetings to you, High Vibe. Deborah Hutchinson, hello to you. Thank you so much for checking out the show, to all of you and everyone else who's going to watch in the future. If you have not watched, I was just reviewing the video of myself and Be Mindful from last night. We had some good laughs there, and it was an important topic. And so, if you have not checked out that episode, make sure you do. Add it to your favorites list, all that kind of good stuff. Hello to you, Miles. Also, I reached out to a couple of doctors. So hopefully one of them will be able to come onto the show, medical doctors, I should say. And so we can try to get some better answers, because there was a lot of confusion. We didn't know a lot of things. We're not medical doctors. Is this transferable? Is that transferable? Et cetera, et cetera. So we want to get to the bottom of that kind of stuff. So anyway, so I hope to hear from those doctors soon. We'll have them on the show, and we'll be back for more good times, more laughs, and all that kind of good stuff. Miles says they will need more than 5 statues. Okay. Make sure you guys hit the poll. It's at about 50% now. Some of y'all say yes, some of y'all say no. Make sure that you do address the poll and give us a vote. It'll be up for the duration of the show and all that. Hello to you, ST from New York. Are you in the city? Have you seen the statue? And what are your thoughts about it and all that kind of stuff? So first thing we're going to do is we're going to play a warm-up video, and then I'm going to jump right into it, because I don't want this to be an extra long show, but I do want to get to a lot of things here and a lot to talk about. So 2 different topics for today. And so the first one is this: when we talk about Black fatigue, we're going to get into specific definitions of what we mean by that. And obviously the statue is going to tie into that. But what I wanted to talk about is this idea about going way back, this idea of Black fatigue, how far it goes back, what we have gone through. And a lot of people just don't see the ideas and the issues and problems that African Americans have gone through, or just all people who have suffered from imperialism and colonialism. So we'll get to that in a second here. Hello to you, A Good. Let's see. Actually, I don't believe it was real. Thought it was AI. The statue? You thought that was AI? I think it's a real statue, isn't it? Yeah, it's a real statue. It's a real statue. Yeah, no, it's definitely a real statue. All right. Okay, so here's the first video that's up, and here we go.
By colonizing, yes, it is true. They think everything about colonization was wrong. It wasn't. There were some terrible things.
No, she's talking about. I wanted to get a little bit farther than that.
And that is about properly acknowledging your. We now have a generation that believes everything we did by colonizing. Yes, it is true. They think everything about colonization was wrong. It wasn't. There were some terrible things, and there were some good things to come out of it. And that is about properly acknowledging your past.
Education.
Yes, completely.
Sanitation.
Transportation.
Yeah. There was so much that we brought to communities. But you see, you're typical of what we're talking about.
No, I'm saying that colonization, the empire was wrong. It was wrong, full stop. That's, the things that Britain might have done.
But that's very much through your modern sensibilities, you might say that, because we wouldn't now routinely go into other countries.
It was a profoundly racist set of basically invasions of other people where we subjugated people to our rule and have made them work for us. It was
Put yourself in
completely
the shoes.
made their countries work.
But imagine yourself in the shoes of a 13-year-old boy hearing you say that.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
What do they then, how do they then carry that through life?
Well,
in terms of who I am as a Brit.
But it's not about...
We had
I'm not saying
racist
we shouldn't
ancestors.
say it,
But Bev...
But I'm saying that we hear much more of that than we do about the benefits of that period of time.
Well, because I don't think there were benefits. I think that we have to be completely...
Of course there were.
So you
benefits to us.
I don't think there were.
There were benefits to us.
A lot of those countries did not, Jonathan, those countries...
It absolutely does.
Those countries did not have money. They did not have the creativity. They did not have people in
That's an outrageous
positions
thing
of
to say.
power
Of course they
to
had
do this.
creativity
No,
in
they
those
didn't.
countries. They just didn't live like Britain did. It doesn't make it worse. It just makes it different.
So it's okay to live without education, and it's okay to live without a transportation system, is it?
They did have education. It just wasn't. It just.
We now have a generation that believes everything we did by colonizing. Yes, it is true. They think everything about colonization was wrong. It wasn't.
So there, as you can see, they are debating the merits of colonization, the imperialistic desires of the British people going into other lands, Africa to New Zealand, or what would become New Zealand, and all these other places that they went to, and just kind of colonized them. And they're saying, well, they brought them education, they brought them transportation, they brought them sanitation, as if the people living in those places didn't have those things in the first place. So, you know, and unfortunately, the guy up there is trying to tell them that this is completely inaccurate portrayal and completely racist idea. And they thought that it was beneficial to them. At one point, she said it was beneficial to them. I'll play it again here just so we can get a sense of their hubris that they have going on here. And you just try to listen to the ladies more as they kind of try to imagine themselves as good people who did the right thing in order to benefit these downtrodden, backwards people.
We now have a generation that believes everything we did by colonizing. Yes, it is true. They think everything about colonization was wrong. It wasn't. There were some terrible things, and there were some good things to come out of it. And that is about properly acknowledging your past.
Education.
Yes, completely.
Sanitation.
Transportation.
Yeah. There was so much that we brought to communities. But that is... But
you're typical of what we're talking about.
No, I'm saying that colonization, the empire was wrong.
The other guy was just sitting there like, I'm not even gonna say anything because he knows it was wrong. He knows what they're talking about is crazy.
It was wrong, full stop. That's, you know, the things that Britain might have done.
But that's very much through your modern sensibilities,
Yes.
you might say that, because we wouldn't now routinely go into other countries.
It was a profoundly racist set of basically invasions of other people where we subjugated people to our rule and have made them work for us. It was
Put yourself in the shoes.
made their countries work.
But imagine yourself in the shoes of a 13-year-old boy hearing you say that.
Yeah.
They made their countries work. They weren't working before. You guys aren't paying taxes.
Right?
Yeah.
What do they then, how do they then carry that through life?
Well,
in terms of who I am as a Brit.
But it's not about...
We had racist ancestors.
Say it,
But Bev...
But I'm saying that we hear much more of that than we do about the benefits of that period of time.
Well, because I don't think there were benefits. I think that we have to be completely...
Of course there were.
I don't think there were.
There were benefits to us.
A lot of those countries did not, Jonathan, those countries...
It absolutely does.
Those countries did not have money. They did not have the creativity. They did not have people...
They didn't have any creativity.
Outrageous things to say. Of course they had creativity
No,
in
they
those
didn't.
countries. They just didn't live like Britain did. It doesn't make it worse. It just makes it different.
So it's okay to live without education, and it's okay to live without a transportation system, is it?
They did have education. It just wasn't. It just.
We now have a generation that believes everything we did by.
Okay, so that's that video there. So I just want to kind of preface what we're going to talk about tonight with the way that people see the world, and unable to see the world from a different point of view, unable to take their rose-colored glasses off and think that their way is the right way. And so I wanted to highlight that as we get into our conversation today, because some people are just not able to see the world outside of the matrix or outside of their own, thought bubbles and all that. Dr. Joy DeGrew tells the hidden truth. Listen to her podcast. Respect to you, Dr. L. I listen to her podcast too. Well, wait a minute. I know does she have? I didn't know she had a podcast. I've watched a number of her lectures, and I have her book, Post Traumatic Slave Syndrome, here. So I'm very much familiar with her and her work. I did not know she had a podcast. I actually invited her on a couple of years ago, and she wasn't able to make it. So, but anyway, maybe I'll try to reach out to her again if she's doing more stuff. The original Statue of Liberty was a black woman slave woman in flag. American government demanded to be changed. The only thing they kept were the chains, which are at the foot of the statue. Yes, I did know that. And thank you for telling all of us. In case anyone did not know that, that is actual and factual truth. If you were really going to go down a rabbit hole, there's a lot wrong with the Statue of Liberty. Okay. Just saying they don't show much diversity. But Europeans came to the Western Hemisphere 500 years ago, and look where we are. The Native Americans were here in this hemisphere for 30,000 years. I'm sure that many places have these different museums or portrayals of that. But here in Connecticut, there's I think it's the Mashantucket, Pequot. I forget how you say the name. there's a casino. We have two casinos here. Both of them are owned and operated by natives, and I believe it's the one in one is called Foxwoods, the other one is Pequot or something like that, and they have the second one that I mentioned. It has a museum inside, and so if you go inside the museum, it'll take you obviously through the history, and it shows what their life was like before the imperialists arrived, and how they were enslaved. And it's really a sad thing to watch and behold. So all right. So we're going to get into let's see here. So we're going to first stick with black fatigue. What the heck is black fatigue? Everybody's talking about black fatigue. What is this? What are we talking about here, right? So we're going to add this to the stage here. So this is from Black Information Network. White TikToker hijacks term black fatigue to explain her racism. So a white TikToker is going viral after she hijacked the term black fatigue and used it to explain away racism. Can I make this any bigger here? In a now deleted video, a TikToker was reportedly discussing the viral incident where a white woman was caught hurling the N-word at a black child at a Minnesota playground, where she delved into her version of black fatigue to justify the racist act. The white TikToker said the playground incident shouldn't have happened, but the woman's actions were understandable due to a society being unbelievably fed up with ghetto ratchet behavior of black people as a whole. Black fatigue is real. I think society as a black hole is there. We are so unbelievably fed up with the ghetto ratchet behavior, the TikToker said in the now deleted video. She made two videos, actually. What black person? What question mark? Black person blaming person for all their problems. She continued using apparent sarcasm. You don't see that every day. This is why people have black fatigue. I'm sick and tired of hearing TikTok and seeing brawls on cruises, brawls in airports, the most ghetto behavior. We're tired of it, the woman added. Here's a little video here. Try to play this here. I don't know what happened here. I don't know what just happened here. Why is this not playing? Just play the video. What is going on?
Because black fatigue is real. I think society as a whole is there. We are just so unbelievably fed up with the ghetto ratchet behavior.
I usually just try to make fun of people on this app, but this shit's not even funny anymore.
What? Black person blaming white people for all their problems? You don't see that every day.
You're all so loud and proud. Jesus Christ.
All right. So that's that. So that goes on a little bit more. And let's see, we'll take that off here. I want to play a little bit more of this that goes on. Let me know your thoughts about this. Do you identify with this particular lady? I think we're all sick of the ratchet ghetto behavior, but I think we're drawing the line at calling little kids the N-word. And I haven't seen that original video. I guess there was a woman who then lashed out at this particular little kid, and I haven't seen that video. I don't know where it is, but everybody's talking about it. So what happened is that this particular lady is then going to respond to it and say, we're all sick of it. So I'm going to play another video here from YouTube, and we'll get into it and talk about it.
Fatigue is real. I think society as a whole is there. Black fatigue is real. I think society as a whole is there. We are just so unbelievably fed up with the ghetto ratchet behavior, entitlement, the victimhood. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. She'll be watching her back for the rest of her life. Yeah, because that's not thuggery, hoodrattery, animalistic. This is why people have black fatigue. When you act like this, it's not normal behavior.
So I had not initially seen these two now deleted videos from a woman who was attempting to talk about what happened in Rochester, Minnesota, where a white mom called a 5-year-old child the N-word, doubled down on her racial slur, and then flipped off that kid's family. And how after that incident went viral all over the internet, a Christian fundraising site called Give, Send, Go raised over $700,000, but not for that little kid who had to endure that woman's racial slurs. No. They raised $700,000 for the white mom yelling racial slurs at a 5-year-old child. After the mom doubled down on the content in that video saying, and I quote, "I called the kid out for what he was," a Christian fundraising platform raised more than $700,000 for that woman. A GoFundMe page for her also raised almost $400,000. Now, my understanding is that both of those organizations are not going to be giving that woman that money, because fundraising a bunch of money to support a woman being a racist violates their terms of service. So obviously, internet discourse has blown up over this subject, with racists saying that people being mad at this mom are participating in cancel culture. And again, they all want to throw a bunch of money at her and affirm her racist behavior that she doubled down on. And then you have folks on the other side who are saying a small child had to endure intentional, racist, hateful behavior, a verbal attack from an adult. And what does it say about our country that she felt free to treat a child that way, and then doubled down on her racism afterward, and was also flooded with support from people who were like, hell yeah, girl, be a total shitbag to a little kid, lob those racial slurs at a child. Like, what does that say about our country? So this woman, whose videos I showed you at the beginning, she thought she had some meaningful contribution to this conversation, where she said, yeah, okay, it wasn't okay that this woman did this, but all of American society has black fatigue. First off, girlfriend, your little racist backwater does not represent all of American society, and how fucking dare you think you speak for all of us? Now, I want to take a quick little tangent here, because initially I had not seen these videos, but I had seen a number of creators I follow talking about black fatigue. Now, these were all black creators who were referencing apparently this woman's videos, but I was confused because I had not heard the term black fatigue used that way. I thought black fatigue was referencing the exhausting experience of being a black person in the United States of America. How the legacy of slavery and Jim Crow, how institutionalized racism, generational poverty, and the unending, exhausting push for racial justice in this country are causing Black people to feel a bone deep, spiritually deep level of fatigue. Right. And so I was confused about the term black fatigue being used to basically mean like white people are tired of having to not be overtly racist. White people are tired of having to like witness black people living their lives or see elements of black culture. Like I didn't understand what was happening. Right. Because in my mind, I'm thinking black fatigue, like the book that Mary Frances Winters wrote in 2020 called Black Fatigue: How Racism Erodes the Mind, Body, and Spirit. Winter's book describes how in every aspect of life, from economics to education to work, criminal justice, and very importantly, health outcomes, the trajectory for Black people is not improving. That the book is trying to illuminate the myriad dire consequences of living while Black. And then
So I'm not going to play all of her content there. You can go over to her channel there and finish watching that. It's called Park Rose Permaculture. So you can go over there and check that out. Listen to the rest. But she's absolutely right. That is exactly what she talked about, is what black fatigue is. Black fatigue is not what this particular lady in the TikTok video, the original TikTok video, which is now deleted, was talking about. She's just sick of seeing black people on acting ratchet and ghetto, or what she sees in videos, right? This is why people need to get off the internet and all this kind of other stuff, right? So get out there, touch grass, actually know some black people, speak to some black people, talk to them in stores or fairs or wherever she goes, and she might have a different understanding about the complexity of black life. But again, as in the first video, remember the first video I showed about the colonization, some people just don't have any other frame of reference versus their own. They just don't have any other frame of reference. They just don't see anything else besides what they see. And so you have to get people to really be open to open up about that. And so I do want to put up, and she's absolutely right about this particular book. That is, let's see, yeah, Black Fatigue. Black Fatigue: How Racism Erodes the Mind, Body, and Spirit, by what's her name? By Mary Frances Winters. I actually just reached out to Miss Winters to see if she'll come on the show, talk about it, because her language has been hijacked by this particular racist lady, and we're hoping that this isn't becoming a catchy thing that would eliminate and eradicate the work that Miss Winters and others have done in trying to get people to understand the Black experience. So yeah, the Black experience is important, and the Black experience is about how we navigate the workplace, how we navigate the medical space, how we navigate, yes, the criminal justice system, which is where I was for a long time. We got to understand how to work all that, right? And so in some states, I believe in California in particular, it's you can't. They have tied, or they've called racism, for lack of a better term, like a medical health condition, right? So it's tied to high blood pressure, even to obesity. I was listening to some academic papers today, just trying to prepare for this episode, because I wanted to really understand, what's up with this medical stuff that we got going on, that's in particular to Black people, and how come we are suffering from the things that we're suffering from. So yes, we are all getting sick of the ghetto ratchet behavior, but when you attribute this to little kids and swearing and calling little 5-year-olds who don't have anything else, who don't have any understanding about about life, or just acting like little kids, then this is problematic, right? Your issue isn't about behavior. Your issue is about the people, and so that's what I wanted to point out. It's clearly propaganda. Yes, thank you for that. Please hit the like button. Sadly, these people aren't, in my estimation, crazy. They are really just in their own bubbles. Again, the first video I played, they're just in their own bubbles. They're in their own bubbles, and they just don't see the world the way other people do, and they're unable to see the world through the eyes of the people who have been colonized, and who are suffering, and who don't get jobs because of their skin color, who don't get callbacks, who don't get promotions, who don't get loans, who don't get access to certain neighborhoods, who don't get access to certain educational opportunities. They're just unable to see those types of people, and they just think that it's just them. You're just bad. You just can't do it, right? So these, I don't like to talk of just one offing these people and just calling them crazy. They're really in this bubble where they think that that they are it, that they think that they're the height of human existence. That's why I played the first video. They believe that they are the height of human existence. And if you're not like us, the West or Western European, or if you're not if your art isn't art, your music isn't really music, your dance isn't really sophisticated. This is the way that some people think, and we have to try to talk people out of that. And that's why I was glad for the guy in the video, in the Instagram video I showed, trying to tell these people that our way isn't the only way. You and I are not going to be able to do that. It's going to take them to do that. So I'm always glad for those people. So yes, please hit the like button. We are only 14% of the population that are 71, and they have fatigue. Well, you know what it is. You know what it is, right? And so and again, just like the first administration of DT, the first administration, these people came out the woodwork, and they're gonna come out the woodwork again. What are we, 110 days, 120 days in, wherever we're at in this, well, maybe more than that, into his administration, and they're already talking like this. So, yeah, we're going to see more of this, right? The elimination of DEI and all this other stuff that's going to be coming, right? And whatever's going on with the economy, first we want to blame the immigrants. And after they get rid of all the immigrants and ship them out, who do you think is going to be next? Who do you think is going to be next on this chopping block of people to blame for the economy, for the slow decline of the U.S.? And that's just not me saying that. I watch a lot of experts in that arena, and they're all saying the U.S. is declining, and all this thing going on with China and all this kind of stuff. So they're going to look to blame somebody, right? They're going to look to blame somebody. Ratchet behavior is accurate. They can't expect respect if they're not respectable. Well, there's truth to that. I'm not denying that we got a lot of work to do to fix our communities, which is why I really started my first channel, which is called Captain Hunter's Podcast, to really try to talk about this, right? Because we got to fix this community, which has brought me to this space about relationships, right? In order to fix the community, in order to stop the ratchet behavior, the fights on cruises, I've seen that too. We've all seen it. The fighting with the police and all this kind of stuff. You want to stop that? We got to get our communities together. I'm not certainly arguing that there's not some issues there. There are certainly some issues. So, but we got to get it together. So, white fatigue, legit exhaustion. Okay. Oh man. All right. I'm a strong, independent woman. Man, I work hard. I'm tired. I felt ridiculous even typing that. All right. Let's see. So that's one more article here. We'll talk about this a little bit more here. Let's see, share screen. So recognizing the exhaustion, Black fatigue is an enduring problem for people of color. Now, this is actually what Black exhaustion is. A trait that many people have in common is resilience. Part of the reason why is that most people of color are combating racism in many forms on a daily basis, whether it's dealing with systemic racism or the microaggressions that occur in the workplace. Some Black people are reaching their limits. This leads to exhaustion, or what can also be known as Black fatigue. And this comes from the Atlanta The Voice, and this is from September 11, 2023. Black fatigue levels have been reported by the American Heart Association. Experts weigh in on how this subject is taking a toll on Black community and why we should not underestimate it. You should take Black fatigue seriously because it's killing people. It's killing their mind, body, and spirit. We are misdiagnosed in terms of some of the mental stresses, and oftentimes that our pain is not that great, said Mary Frances Winters, CEO and founder of the Winters Group Incorporated. I did reach out to her. Hopefully she'll come on to the show. Black fatigue is the exhaustion of small acts of aggression and disrespect Black people endure on a daily basis. Other stresses that lead to Black fatigue are the endless need to prove one's worth and constant exposure to news about injustice and violence being inflicted on people of color. So even every time you watch the news, that's sometimes I can't even watch the news anymore. Sometimes people call me up and like, oh, you hear what this happened? I'm like, I don't even watch the news. Right. I mean, I can't, dealing with 24 years in policing did a number on me as far as, if I'm not looking at something for a lawyer, for work or something. I can't take all this bad news all the time. I can't take it, I really can't. So yeah, so that kind of stuff, you gotta, I gotta separate my mind from that. Winters describes the feeling of Black fatigue as a dull, droning sound that is always present. Winters is an expert in diversity, equity, inclusion. She released a book called Black Fatigue: How Racism Erodes the Body, Mind, and Spirit in 2020. The book explores the subject more and reveals why this problem is perpetuated. I was going to enter organizations to do training and strategy sessions about diversity, equity, inclusion. Younger Black people would approach me and say they are exhausted and tired of having to deal with the microaggressions in the workplace. Your hair looks nice, or you're pretty for a Black girl, or whatever else they're saying. Or you're so articulate, all kind of stuff like that, right? So I teach. I actually just taught uh, a micro course on on leadership and DEI. So yeah, this is a thing, and I try to get the students who are taking my course to get ready for when they get out into the workplace. And of course, the vast majority of them were white students. So it's my job to introduce them to these terms and terminology and all that. I was like, "You're 25 years old. How are you tired already?" They gave me a look, but with respect, they responded, "Hey, I know, but I'm tired." If these young people in the workplace are fatigued at 25, 30 years old, that means there's an intergenerational problem that has been perpetuated over and over, said Winters. Well, I'll give her some credit for that, but I think some of these 25-year-olds are just lazy. One symptom of Black fatigue is high levels of stress. Too much stress can play a role in heart disease and diabetes, among other ailments. Black fatigue also taps into the feelings of inadequacy. I definitely felt that way. You feel like you always got to prove yourself, right? My report's got to be super pristine, because if there's anything, they think that my failures are due to my race. I told a story before. About my first days on the PD. First few days on the PD, and I was about to write a report. And before I put pen to paper, yes, we used pen to paper at that time. Um, right before I put pen to paper, my field training officer said to me, you got to be very careful about how you're going to write this report, because people are going to look at it. And she said, well, because you're Black. And if you don't write a good report, it's going to reflect on your race. And so I was appreciative and insulted at the same time, because at least she told me. So, um, you know, so this is part of the fatigue that a lot of us are feeling, the stress of having to live up to. And I'd be curious to know if other individuals suffer from the same type of fatigue. Probably not to the same level. Again, I was listening to some peer-reviewed papers today, and they were talking about different uh, other races who come here and just assimilate. Asian ladies, Hispanic ladies, they get here, particularly from South America, and they get here and they marry, and they marry a lot of white guys, and they just assimilate. So, I would be curious to hear if they suffer the same thing. I'm not an expert in that. Um, one symptom of Black fatigue is high level of stress. Too much stress can play a role in heart disease, diabetes. Black fatigue also taps into feelings of inadequacy. According to the report, psychotherapist Aisha Grevenberg says Black fatigue will have one internalizing the stereotype of deficiency. Many Black professionals feel the pressure to prove they are worthy. Gravenberg and her clients were raised with the narrative that they need to be twice as good to be considered half as good. Definitely something my grandmother told me. The CDC recognized that racism is a threat to public health. The American Heart Association has another report from 2020 that discusses how structural racism based stress can lead to long-lasting damage to the body and brain. Winters believes medical schools and institutions need to highlight the relationship between racism and our health outcomes. A recent moment of Black fatigue Winters felt was her discomfort of going to the store after the Dollar General shooting in Jacksonville, Florida. So that goes on for it's not too much more. We'll read through the rest of that. I think we sometimes, as people, don't even recognize the relationship between racism and our physical, mental, and spiritual well-being. I was in a dollar store thinking in the back of my mind, wow, 3 people were killed in a Dollar General store last week just because they were Black. That is extra unnecessary stress for going outside, said Winters. Black fatigue is a complex issue with no simple solution. Winters says solving the black fatigue problem involves changing the whole system. Steps one can apply is to know your triggers. Winters set boundaries for herself by not watching anything about racism because she needs a reprieve from the race-related work she does every day. You can't watch this stuff every day. You can't. That's why I can't watch a lot of, people send me a lot of police stuff. And even I have another channel. I haven't really commented on that in a long time, because I just can't. I just can't do it all the time. I just can't. So I need a break. Winters encouraged finding your triggers and walking away from them with no guilt. Grevenberg recommends rest and giving yourself permission to back away from the pursuit of perfection. Rest is a protest. It's revolutionary, and it's a sign that it says, I am human. I tell every single person I work with, have a snack, take a nap. Grevenberg. I think they spelled it wrong there. I think it was a V over here before. Yeah, they spelled it wrong there. Somewhere they spelled it wrong. Says in the report, for those who want to be an ally against the issue, listening to your colleagues of color is a great step. Grevenberg explains in the report that being an ally is about providing a safe presence, someone who can validate experiences. She further explains being present while listening and asking questions for an understanding. So it's not in your head. Yourself, you and other people are definitely dealing with this, and it's a real thing, and you shouldn't feel bad about it if you're dealing with that, right? And that's why I've done videos about stopping smelling the roses, getting yourself together, and all that, and becoming the best version of yourself, and stopping and taking a nap from time to time. It's important. It's important. It's important. Let me get to some of your comments here. I recently relocated to Arkansas. Is that relocated to Arkansas in a Walmart land? DEI is all up through this area. Walmart is very diverse. Walton family invests heavily in the arts and inclusive projects. This is a game. Okay, good for them. Okay. Garrett had to run. Fixing the community is a challenge because we must follow rules that were made to destabilize us. That's a word right there, Miles. We got to follow rules that were meant to destabilize us. Yeah. So, and then when we don't do it, or we find a different way of doing it, then we're looked at as animalistic, or we're bad, or we're wrong, or it's not the right way, or all this kind of stuff, right? Gen Z came here to mix things up. They have no problem saying no. It's fascinating and inspiring as a Gen X. Yeah, I wish that we as Gen X were a little bit more, because we were outside rough and tumble, and we end up going right along with the system. You're right about that. Yes, this having to work twice as hard can be harmful. It may yield above excellent results, but the stress is real. Absolutely. 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 Black excellence has been detrimental in some ways to our mental health. Absolutely. Absolutely. Having to think about proving yourself all the time is no longer a challenge. It's chronic energy drain, second guessing yourself, right? And then, sometimes I would go home and just think about, man, how was this report? How did I handle this, right? Before I go to sleep, right? I couldn't really rest. So, yeah, I'm glad you guys can identify, and it's unfortunate that we have all gone through that. Okay, let's see. Okay. Let's see. All right, so we're going to get into the second part. So that's I appreciate you guys' comments about that. Yeah, so we're all going through it. So if you're going through stuff like that, it's okay to take a rest. It's okay to say no. It's okay to step back. It's okay to take a nap. It's okay to what I would not look for is other people trying to validate your feelings. I know that it's great that people are doing that. The guy in the very first video I showed was talking about this and trying to help other people understand others' perspectives. That's great. But for your own, you may not have that on your job. You may have be in a place where people just don't seem to be able to identify. It's great that this stuff is going on, and Walmart's doing what they're doing, and other companies and corporations are doing that. But we saw that once DEI was eliminated from the federal government, how many other companies fell along those dominoes. So you got to really watch that kind of stuff, right? And we have to do what's best for our own mental health. We have to do what's best for our own mental health. So make sure that you guys are doing all that. All right, so now we're going to get into the statue. The statue in New York City, right? Yeah. We're going to hit the like button, y'all. Hit the like button. I know you guys want to tune in a lot of times to watch to see male-female relationships and all that, but hit the like button because this is important, right? This is important for our own mental health and for our own stability as a generation here. Okay, so let's see. Share screen. All right, so this is so there's, if you have not seen this, this statue is from New York City. New York City, downtown, statue of a black woman in Times Square, discourse, inspiration, and internet hate. I'd like to know, just put a couple of words in here. What's your thoughts about when you see this statue? When you see this statue, you see this woman here. What are your thoughts? This is a black woman. Statue of a black woman in Times Square sparks discourse. What are your thoughts about this? This is downtown New York City. What are your thoughts about this? I'm gonna give you guys a few. Jeez. Welfare Queen of Liberty. Oh my God. And I do have in the comments section, and make sure that there is a poll. So hit the poll too, so we can know what the thoughts are. And we'll get to them at the end here. Anyone else here? Welfare Queen of Liberty. Jeez. Yeah, hand on the hips. This is how they see black women. Totally Awesome says disgusting. Occupational Forces, Section 8, Statue of Liberty. I definitely agree, man. I mean, and I am not happy about this statue at all. I am not happy about this statue at all. I really am not. I am completely disappointed in this. This woman is hands on her hips, almost a resting bee face, plain clothes, looking like she's going to or coming from Walmart, regular shoes, kind of a masculine presence. I don't know why. Is this the way that they see this? This the way they see this? She's gonna get you. She's gonna get you told. Y'all stupid. I don't know. If I'm a black woman, I think you all should be offended by this. I really think you should be offended by this. I really think that. Let's see. A new statue in Midtown has been generating a lot of discussion, praise, and vitriol. Let me tell you what I think here. I definitely think, obviously she's a little rotund, a little plump there, right? I can't imagine them putting this statue up of a white woman or an Asian woman or a Latina. I just can't imagine that. I can't imagine a pose being hands on the hips. I can't imagine just a frumpy t-shirt, jeans, not looking feminine. I just can't imagine them doing that. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong about that. I just can't imagine that. In less than 2 weeks since the artist Thomas J. Price's 12-foot tall bronze grounded in the stars, that's the name of the statue, grounded in the stars. I wonder where he came up with that from. I don't understand why I don't know. Sculpture, which depicts a young black woman dressed in everyday clothes and standing with her hands on her hips, has been installed in Times Square. It has inspired a great deal of in-person intrigue and an online discourse of both love and hate. Consider this hate from me, because I absolutely hate it. When I think of my daughter, and I think of my mother, and somebody's going to put a picture up that's going to depict all of black womanhood, that's not what I want to see. It's not what I want to see. You stupid. That's what I thought. It was a joke. What an uninspired, gigantic piece of art. Who did this and why? Brought to you by Mayor Adams. There was one in England and the Netherlands too. It's insane. I didn't know that. The other statues are on their phones. Okay. The artist is a Black Brit. Yeah, he's a Black Brit. We're gonna get to that. Yeah. So this Black British dude, this is what he thinks about American Black women. You ought to be doubly insulted. Wait a minute. Other people from diaspora see this, see American Black women as this. Who was on this statue committee? It's crazy. It's freaking crazy. Let's see. What makes presenting public art in Times Square so incredible, it's so powerful, is that you know that you are going to get the widest range of reactions and perspectives, said Gene Cooney, director of the Times Square Arts, the group behind the work. There you go, right to them. Right to them. You cannot call yourselves at the crossroads of the world without being prepared to host a crossroads of opinion, said Cooney. Look at this. People taking pictures of it. It's bizarre. Like why would you think that this is good? God. Oh my God. On a recent sunny Thursday, people passing this statue expressed feelings ranging from positive to apathetic. I'm happy that it shows Black women in our bodies because they body shame people too much, said Kira English. I think it's beautiful. I love to see it. I wish we could see more of it, said Chanel Moore, adding that she was unsure if the statue depicted a specific person. In fact, it depicts an amalgamation of people Price has met. So this author, the sculptor, just put them all together and said, and again, he got this. This is the picture of the Black American woman that he got. And even if that's true, that just shows that something has to be done about that. Come on now. Ayanna Joseph called the statue a win for representation that she could see herself and her daughter in. I don't want to see that in my women. I don't. I want to see some inspiring work of art that's truth, or something we should be aspiring to, or something that we've done victoriously. There's plenty of things that Black women have done that could stand up for this, stand up for Black women, and this just ain't it. In many forums and comments online, the work is also being heralded as empowering, accessible work that gently challenges the conventional standards of beauty and representation through its existence. In other corners of the internet, however, the piece has become met with angry comments or held as evidence of the wokes attempting to take power from nearby statues, which depict white male historical figures. I'm not on that train. I just think it's just not a good look for black women. So, who is this guy who did this? Who did this? Who did this abomination here? Who did this? This is the guy who did this. Share screen. About Thomas J. Price, born London, UK, 1981. Thomas J. Price's multidisciplinary practice confronts preconceived attitudes towards representation and identity, foregrounding the intrinsic value of the individual and subverting structures of hierarchy. Wow, all that just to say he's trying to overturn the apple cart, I guess. Celebrated for his large-scale figurative sculptures, Price draws our attention to the psychological embodiment of his fictional characters, highlighting nuanced understandings of social signifiers and predetermined value. Amalgamated from multiple sources, the works are developed through a hybrid approach of traditional sculpting and intuitive digital technology. Price balances methods of presentation, material, and scale to challenge our expectations and provides cues for deeper human connection. He encompasses historical constructs with newness that are first and chance and glance can go unnoticed, but live in a public realm of silent totems and all that kind of stuff, right? There was something about his sculpture. These are some of his other works here. I mean, these are kind of majestic. This other stuff is kind of majestic, right? Look, guy peering out, looking for stuff. Woman on her phone, doing something. This is a nice picture of this Marblehead, this Black woman here. Brother who's obviously been through something. I just don't understand this. I just don't understand his. I don't. Here's a brother in his hoodie. Probably a shout out to Trayvon Martin there. I'm just imagining, but I just don't get it. I just don't get that. I don't think that he hit the mark with that piece there. So, Yeah. So listen, I don't know. I just don't think that's it. And let's see. Share screen here. And here's some pictures of Harriet Tubman, right? Freeing slaves and dragging us along and and lighting the way, just glory. I mean, glorious stuff there. And I just don't understand how he missed the mark with that one. So I don't know. I could be wrong. I could be missing something completely, but y'all help me out here. Where are we at with the poll here? So 62% of you all are saying no, this is not a good representation. 58 now are saying. Some are saying yes. Some are saying yes. So make sure you hit. Some are saying yes. So it as the articles I read, it's a 50-50 split almost, So we're showing that here. Black Brits are different. No, they're not. Blacks are doing all of the stabbing in the UK. Well, not all of them. Come on now. Jeez. If this is a win, what's the loss? I don't know what that the American black is a caricature. Yeah. He says it's a subtle nod to Michelangelo's David. I don't see that. I heard that. I don't see that nod at all. In all honesty, I don't see that nod at all. I don't see that nod at all. There's nothing wrong with the statue. It is a American black woman. Not all of them, but a lot of them embrace her, uplift her. She's beautiful. My contention is that she's beautiful. I'm saying that the Black American woman is beautiful. I just don't think that was a beautiful representation of her. That's my point. That's my point. I just don't think that what has been represented there is a good image that we want to cast for the world to see. The things that we've talked about thus far in the show have all been trying to uplift and get us to get to a different place and a better place. And that is a stationary look at where we are today. And I'm not here for that. I'm not here for that. I don't want to see black men portrayed as thugs, and I don't want to see black women portrayed as hand on hips, neck rolling, unsophisticated attire women for the world to see. I don't care who the artist is who's doing it, and that includes music as well. I have a problem with that. So that's my contention. So, but you are certainly entitled to your opinion, and I certainly thank you for it. I just happen to disagree. So, we're still at 58%. Make sure you hit the like button and hit the button as well for the survey there. And listen, that's my presentation for tonight. I want to know what you guys thought. This is about you guys and your thoughts and opinions. And I appreciate everyone who's commented thus far. But my contention that this is not it. This is not it. And after all that we're trying to overcome this black fatigue that we got going on, I don't think this helps our black fatigue. Now you got to go to work tomorrow or the next day, or it's been up for 2 weeks now, and just kind of wrestle through all this kind of stuff, and just knowing that this thing is out there. This is how people see us, and this is how other people from the diaspora see us. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. And some of us don't understand that our representation matters, and that bothers me. That bothers me when people don't think that our representation matters. When you go into a grocery store, when you're at the laundromat, when you're dealing with the police, when you walk into a hospital, when you dress crazy and you go see your kids at their school, dressed like, you go to the strip club, we all get treated a certain way because of that. I wish that people would really confront that, really understand that we all get treated a certain way because of the few. And this is causing and exacerbating the fatigue. This is what's exacerbating the fatigue. When somebody else is out there acting a fool, when somebody else is out there acting or dressed a certain way or talking a certain way or fighting on cruises or fighting on airlines and stuff, we've all seen it. And when we see that kind of stuff, we all suffer for it. It's unfortunate, but it's true. We don't want it to be that way, but it's true. We hope that it wasn't that way, but it's true. We all and it's true. It's we have to acknowledge it. So was he being honest? What was his source? He said it was an amalgamation of all the people that he met, that he had talked to. So in other words, he took the what he deemed to be the black experience. Even if that's true, and listen, one of the reasons I was listening to or reading through some of the stuff about obesity is because I want to see how prevalent of a problem this is. And the literature seems to suggest that the racist ideas and fatigue that we're dealing with causes us to be more obese. I read those articles and I'm not convinced of that at all. I think it's a matter of culture, and we got to stop eating, the crazy foods that we're eating. That's what's got to stop it. It's true that more African Americans are, in particular women, are overweight. That's true, but it's not because we're African American, and it's not because of racial fatigue, in my opinion. I think it's because of another aspect is what we're eating and the lack of exercise. Now, the literature would say it's because we don't have access to safer neighborhoods where we can go jogging, or it's access to, because we're not paid as much, we don't have access to gym memberships and things like that. There may be a little bit of truth to that, particularly safe neighborhoods, because you can go for a walk anywhere, right? And maybe you don't have the money to buy a treadmill. So there may be some truth to that, but we got to do what we got to do. But you don't have to eat fried chicken, hog maws, and all this kind of stuff every day. You don't have to do that, right? And if you go to work, you can park a mile away from work if you drive to work, or get up and walk around, or instead of eating on your lunch break, go for a walk on your lunch break, something like that. There's things you can do in order to change that, in order to fix that. So it feels more exploitative than artistic expression. I think that he was trying to do the good thing. I will give him the credit and say he was trying to do the good thing. But if he was really running into these types of people, that may be his experience, and that's what he's trying to portray as an accurate portrayal. Even if it's an accurate portrayal according to his experience of meeting American women, then that ought to be a wake-up call and say, okay, we got to do something to change this, because all of our hands are on our hips. We're all not ghetto. We're all not ratchet. We're all not, sister girl mentality. We're not all doing that. So, let's work on that, right? Food deserts are common in inner city communities. I talked about this before. There's a I don't know if they're still doing it, but there was a group called PCRM. It's Physicians Committee of something responsible medical practice practitioners or something like that. And they were actually teaching people who live in inner cities how to shop at these stores, right? Because you can get canned vegetables, you can get, there's other things you can do in order to get a healthier diet. Obviously, fresh fruits and vegetables is the way to go, but there are ways to do it, and there's information out there to do it. And actually, I had her on my podcast one time. It might still be on Captain Hunter's podcast. Actually, if I still have that interview, if I have it saved anywhere, I'll upload it here. So you guys can watch it. It was a good interview that we did with a lady who was from PCRM. So, and portion control or lack thereof. Yeah, if you're gonna, the thing about McDonald's French fries is you can't eat the whole box, right? 7 French fries is a serving, so it's portion control too. Absolutely. All black women don't like Chipotle with extra sour cream. Well, yeah. So, all right. All right, so that's my presentation for tonight. I just want to talk about the statue and the black fatigue, what it is and all that. And listen, we're all dealing with it. We're all going through that. So, yeah. Chipotle is actually pretty good, isn't it? I mean, you can get the salads and stuff, right? So I don't know. Anyway, so I thank you guys for checking out the show. Make sure you hit the like button. So the final tally for tonight is, do you think the statue in NYC is a good and accurate portrayal of Black American woman? 61% of you said no, 39% said yes, and we only had 23 votes. Come on now, we had more than that. Hit the like button. I'm going to leave the poll up. Make sure some more people can do it on the way out. Yes, I worked in that campaign for years ago. Nurses provide guidance on how to buy healthy food at Dollar Tree. Yeah. The information is out there. The information is out there. You don't have to eat honey buns every day. You don't have to do that. You know, you don't have to do that. Oh, I didn't know that. McDonald's owns Chipotle's? I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Okay. Okay. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in. Just so you know, we have some shows coming up. I'm going to have some brothers on. We're going to talk about the things that men are doing wrong. And we're going to have the brothers to come on to talk about what the women are doing wrong. I'm going to have the sisters back, Anita, V, and Trey, to come back on. And we're going to talk about what the men are doing wrong. So we got some stuff coming up for you. So thank you guys so much for checking out the show tonight. Just want to, as my another one podcast I listen to says, punch the clock. I just want to punch the clock tonight and just have a discussion about this abomination that's in New York City. And don't let these people get you down. They don't. Some of them are unable to see what we see and unable to empathize and sympathize with our experience. So we got to be there for each other. So don't let them work you too hard. Take a nap, go for a walk, say no, quit a job, start a new job. Do what you got to do in order to maintain your mental health and sanity. Till next time, y'all, much love and peace. Thank you so much for checking out the show. And yes, follow High Vibes Advice and hit the like button on the way out. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate y'all. Yes, we catch you guys. Take care of yourselves. I think I'm dropping for the members only, dropping a video tomorrow morning. Take care of yourselves. Much love and peace.